I'm Bill Minter. I am the son of Vera Hall Minter and W.D. Minter, who wound up owning the Queen Theater at one time. So we could talk about why the theater closed in the 60s. Downtown Abilene was not the new and shiny thing. The suburbs, there were shopping centers being built on the outskirts of town that people thought were better and newer and so forth, and some of the historic buildings downtown were getting a little long in the tooth, and the Queen Theater was operated by Interstate Theaters, or a division of them. Also, the Paramount was run by the same people. But my parents just happened to be the landlords. They were mainly in the retail business with Minter Dry Goods Company. So, but they wound up owning a theater, and then mid-60s the theater closed. I have a letter in some of my research from the theater people who were renting it based in Dallas, and they said that because of the decline in traffic in downtown Abilene and general movement of business away from downtown, they felt like they wanted to pay less rent. It eventually led to the closing of the theater. They made the decision. So the theater sat for a few years. There was no one to operate it. Nobody was interested in taking that over. So. And then in the early 70s, Mrs. Frances Brooks and Ed Wishcamper, who was the editor of the Abilene Reporter News, had an idea about turning this into kind of what you could call a pocket park, a small park like they had seen in Europe and in many cities. Some of these places, nice intimate spaces to give people in the city a little place to relax and maybe have their lunch or have a cup of coffee, things like that. So they said, wouldn't it be nice if the property could be used that way? So my dad donated the land, and it was a real community effort. The Kiwanis Club Foundation raised the money. They had about 460 donors of all types. Some of the donations were small, some were big, but the community really paid for it, and then they gave it to the Kiwanis Foundation, which eventually gave it to the city of Abilene. So now it's part of the park system in the city of Abilene. You might say, who was Vera Hall Minter? My mom died when I was 9 years old. She had cancer and did not survive, but she was a real people person, had many friends of all types throughout Abilene, and was just a great somebody who really liked to make things happen civically. So she was very interested in the Philharmonic and Girl Scouts, but probably the main thing was the library, Abilene Public Library Advisory Board. So the library we have now at 202 Cedar was passed in a bond election in 1956 that she was the chair of that board at that time. So she worked very hard toward getting that library built, and at least for now, that's the library that we have, and it was a big step forward for Abilene. So to memorialize her life, that was the idea behind all the people who came together to create this park. The park, as you know, from 1976 to 2020 is quite a while. So the park the trees had grown. There were only 2 trees in the beginning, kind of close to the middle. They got enormous. They got really too big to be easily. The ones that are around now were planted later, and so the other problem was the original design of the park was not available to people in wheelchairs, for example. So this design, if some people got together and created a new design that was going to be more accessible and use this great, it uses less water and it's easier to maintain than the large many gallons going over the waterfall. And but it does still have that water feeling, so it's restful when you hear it on your ears. So a lot of that was once again, the community came together to make it happen. And I believe, I was told this is the largest computerized waterfall in the nation right now, and may not have that title forever, but it's a wonderful thing to see at any hour of the day or night. So, and the ribbon cutting, I don't know how that happened, but there was some fluke, or somebody did some research, or maybe it was just a God wink, as one friend said, that it was on July the 7th, which was her birthday. So, and it's been so long since she has been deceased that I don't usually have it on my calendar anymore, but it was a wonderful remembrance, and it gave extra special meaning to that.